What's up everybody, how you doing out there? In this video we're going to be making some pineapple chicken, but I'm also going to be doing something a little extra to it because a friend of mine, she's always complaining that I don't make things spicy enough. So I'm going to end up making this really spicy. What you can do is just leave out the peppers and everything else is going to be amazing. So I've got some chicken thigh here, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull the skin off because we're not going to need the skin for this. Now I'm just going to be pulling out these bones, and that way we end up having just some chicken thigh. And what I'm doing is I'm just kind of using my fingers to kind of go around the bone, and then I can pretty much get inside there. You don't really have to cut to get this bone out. You can just kind of scrape and pull your fingers around and stuff like that, and you'll be able to get it out. And now what we're going to do is we're going to cut this stuff up almost like into the size of, well, nuggets, and something like that's fine. Okay, so now I'm going to take this, I'm going to throw it in a bowl, I'm going to clean up my cutting board, and then we'll get to the next step. Usually after I cut up chicken or any type of meat, anything that can contaminate my cutting board, after I'm done cleaning it, I'll usually end up putting some vinegar on it. Or I'll use what I call my double V sauce, which is a combination of vinegar and vodka. And then anything that's on there, it'll kill it. Putting this down, so that way when I end up putting this down, I don't contaminate my board. So what we want to do is we want to season this, and we're going to put some salt. We're going to be stirring this up a little bit. Ground black pepper, a little bit of garlic powder, and we're going to put a little bit of granulated onion. That's about maybe 1/4 teaspoon tops. We have an egg. I got it all over my board. And what we want to do is we want to mix this all up real well. I'm going to put in some all-purpose flour in this, and I'm going to put maybe close to 1/4 cup. Now you can use cornstarch if you want, but I'm going to be using some potato starch, and I want to put maybe about that, a few tablespoons to maybe 1/4 cup. You can use cornstarch though, like I said, you don't have to use potato. And after everything is nice and coated on this, I'm going to be on the stove, I'm going to be putting on some oil to heat up. When it is hot enough, I'm going to put each one of these in slowly, individually, so they don't stick together. And it's important though that they all have some type of coating. So if you have to use your hands, use your hands. But usually something like this will work just fine. And if you have to add more, add more. That's a red jalapeno. You don't have to use it, but I'm putting it in. I'm putting that in too. How about 2 habaneros, since she's always complaining it's never hot enough. And the green onion, for the most part, is going to almost be a garnish, because it's going to end up going on near the end there. But we can cut it up now. Take our garlic. And I've got my ground ginger. If you don't have ground ginger, you just use regular ginger. And these are already cut up. And these I'm going to cut up a little bit later. So we can go ahead and start frying. And like I said before, you kind of want to put these things in individually, one at a time. That way they don't stick to one another. Because there's nothing worse than having a bunch of chicken that's stuck together. We basically want these to cook and brown up. And you can always do a double fry, which if you haven't seen in some of my other videos before, I like to do double frying. I'll fry it once, then I'll take it out and let it rest for a few minutes, and then I'll fry it again, and it gets extra crispy when we do that. And so this is the first batch that I had done. Whoops. And what we're going to do is we're going to throw this in here, because it's cool enough that I can just touch it with my hands and not get burned. But this will start frying up. So at this point, this batch right here should be done. And you should notice that it's a much darker color now. And it's going to darken even more after we take it out and we set it down. So we have our nice little pan there. And this is our sauce. We're gonna end up putting a little bit of oil inside here. I'm just using olive oil. You can use vegetable oil. It's not a big deal. We're gonna throw our garlic in first. I'm also gonna be throwing some of the green onion in that has the white portion. I'm gonna throw my onions in. Just like everything, we gotta throw some salt, black pepper, crushed ginger paste. Put my carrots inside, my bell pepper. And if you want to use green bell pepper, you can. It's not really going to end up affecting anything other than just the color. I'm going to put a little soy sauce in this. I'm going to jack the heat up on this a little bit now because we have our liquid in there. And of course, we need our pineapple juice and our pineapple. And then I'm using this in heavy syrup, so that way I can get the sugar out of the syrup and I don't have to add extra. At least I'm hoping I don't have to. I'll only know after this kind of sets up. So we're going to bring this up to temperature, and as soon as it gets up to temperature, in other words it's simmering, we can taste it and we can see kind of where we're at as far as all the seasoning and stuff is. And then during the time that that's setting up, I'm going to get some potato starch, mix it with some cold water. Okay, let's get a taste of this here. I'm going to add just a touch of sugar because the heavy syrup was almost enough, but not quite enough to bring it to the area that I want. I don't want the vegetables to get overcooked, so I'm going to end up removing them and boiling down some of this liquid. Put just a few little slices of the jalapeno in order to put a little spice in this, but it's not going to be overwhelming by any means, and I can also take that out, but it's a little too sweet for my tastes. Also, if the pineapple did not bring enough acidity to the table, because we are making like a sweet and sour sauce, we can add a little vinegar to it. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to add maybe just a little bit of vinegar, maybe right there. Pineapple juice would have been better for that, but I didn't have enough pineapple juice. Because we're boiling this down, anything that we had put in it, it's going to become intensified. So if it was salty before, it's going to even be more salty. If it was sweet before, it's going to even be more sweet. Everything is going to get intensified because we're boiling this down, we're reducing it. I'm going to take a little bit of this out so that way I can put more peppers in it for my friend. Okay, so that looks like it's reduced as much as I need it to go. This is a little bit of potato starch and water, and cool water. If it's warm water, you're going to regret it. You can also end up using cornstarch. We want this to be kind of like a hot jelly almost. That's enough. What I had just done there is enough. Okay. So now, the larch. So now what we can do is throw our chicken in. Because we want this to coat the chicken. Now that we know that that's been coated fairly well, we can throw our veggies and pineapple back in. And now we can throw our green onion. And you're going to be able to see that there's nothing on the bottom. Okay, so we have ourselves a winning dish that is not soggy. We can plate this up. And of course, you guessed it, this is definitely something that would be good with rice. Anyway, guys, there you go, pineapple chicken. This is really good with rice. It's also good just by itself. And as far as my friend goes, boy, she's going to regret ever saying there wasn't enough spice, because all of those peppers are going to go into her sauce. And I'm going to take out some of the chicken here, and some of the vegetables here, some of the pineapple here, and put it in that. And so that way it looks just like it, but it's going to be ridiculous spicy. Anyway, if you like this, make sure you hit like, make sure you hit subscribe, check out my other videos, and until next time, talk to you later.